will do is first just tell you what we have planned for this afternoon, and then Angelo will go through it in more detail. So to start with, I think I've spoken to most of you, but I'm Mark Smith. I'm the Director of the Global Water Program in IUCN. I have had the privilege, along with all of the IUCN colleagues who are here, in working over the last 5 or 6 years on the Water and Nature Initiative of IUCN. So one of the main drivers for wanting to do this training session was we saw this Congress as an opportunity to bring to a few members who wanted to work with us for an afternoon some of the lessons we've learned in the Water and Nature Initiative about how you actually do implementation. How you actually do implementation of integrated water resource management. And that's of a special interest because integrated water resource management in the water resources field is what is the dominant framework for how water resources should be managed. And it's about bringing together a range of stakeholders to work through together how they should manage water resources, how they should meet the multiple demands upon water in ways that are sustainable and equitable. The problem with IWRM is that what usually follows that sort of description is that people then say, well, it's too hard to implement. It's too difficult, it's too complicated. And over 10 years of the Water and Nature Initiative, working in a range of river basins around the world, we say, well, we know how to do implementation. We've worked on it in these basins for 10 years. It's not something that you one day say, right, we're done, we're finished, the implementation is done, we can move on. It's a process. It's a process, and it's a process of change. So a lot of what we'll be talking about today is what we've learned through this initiative of how to catalyze and manage and facilitate those processes of change in water resource management. The approach that one, the Water and Nature Initiative, developed, of course because we're IUCN, is based around ecosystems. So it's how do you implement the ecosystem approach to IWRM. But also another part of our message is never mind it's the ecosystem approach. This is how you do it. This is how you do implementation. And one of the ways that you do implementation of IWRM is based around ecosystems because they're fundamental to water resources and the way water resources are used. So that's kind of the starting point. As you'll see, one of the critical aspects of doing implementation is working on governance, reforming governance, getting governance moving at all sorts of different levels. So another of the drivers for wanting to do this session was another of our projects that's ongoing right now called the Bridge Project. Bridge stands for Building River Dialogues and Governance Projects, particularly focused on transboundary basins. So there's some lessons coming from our experiences from the Bridge Project also that we want to use in the exercises that we'll run through. Now the exercises that we'll run through will use a fictional basin, which we'll explain to you, which on the one hand is a basis for having training that's really good fun, having learning that's really good fun. But it's also a means of actually getting people out of the sticky political or the sticky ecosystem details of a basin that you know, and into a fictional space in which you can just focus on the principles that we're trying to learn about. As you'll see, in the way we'll introduce how we say to do implementation, there's a range of different elements that come together, and all of those different elements themselves could be a 2 or 3 day training course, and sometimes that's what we do run, is 2 or 3 day training courses. So in this session, all we really get to do is have a taste of it and see how these pieces fit together. So it's a bit of a whirlwind, but But we hope we'll get as a main message this idea of this is how you do implementation. So, I wanted to move now just to introduce ourselves to one another. So maybe we'll just start here. We're going to find that probably a little more than half, maybe about half of this group is the IUCN team, and half are people who come to join in. So, anyways, we'll have fun with that. James.
My name is James Dalton. I'm the coordinator of global initiatives in the IUCN Water Programme based in headquarters in Switzerland.
My name is Alejandro Isa. I work for IUCN in Bonn. I'm the director of the Environmental Law Center.
Hello, my name is Juan Carlos Sanchez. I'm legal officer also at the Environmental Law Center.
Hello, my name is Daniel Hayden. I don't work for IUCN, which isn't a bad thing, but I work for RARE, which is Social Market and Conservation. We've done a number of water projects in Latin America, and it's something that we've been very successful with. Hopefully we'll do more around the world and we'll learn from this approach.
Sure.
Hello,
Sorry.
good afternoon. My name is Rocio Cordova, and I'm the coordinator of the Livelihoods and Climate Change Unit for our office, and I've been working with water resources and with this type of tools that we are going to practice today for several years.
Right.
I'm Froilan Zika. I'm the president of the Natural History Society of Chiapas. I'm working with WANI a long time ago, and together is part of the Cahuacan River in the second phase of this process.
Okay, my name is Armin Dede. I'm coming from Albania. I represent the NGO called Institute for Nature Conservation. Actually, we are working in the transboundary river management plan to prepare the transboundary context, but we are working with the Global Water Partnership, which is also this is a big network. I'm here to look to your experience and to gain some things that maybe I have used in our exercise.
Very good.
My name is Dan Perry. I am from Israel. I was the head of Israel Conservation and later in charge of making National Master Plan for water issues.
My name is Sandy Zellner. I'm at the University of Nebraska Law School. I teach water law and environmental law and natural resources law in the U.S.
Hi everyone, Lee Kasodi. I coordinate the Water and Vigilance Program at IUCN Oceania PG.
Hi, my name is Ian Harrison. I work for the IUCN Conservation International Joint Biodiversity Assessment Unit. I work on freshwater biodiversity assessment and integration of biodiversity data into CI's management projects.
Hello, my name is Owen McIntyre. I teach environmental law at the National University of Ireland, and I have a general interest in water, particularly international relations.
My name is Dominic Stucker. Last year I had an opportunity as a research intern with the International Water Management Institute to do research in Central Asia. So I'm contemplating a PhD in this field broadly. I'd like to learn more and speak with all of you. Understand what that means.
You'll be able to do a PhD on this session. Okay, just before we move on, I think next is Alejandro's going to introduce some things. Yeah? I just wanted to just highlight that we have a set of publications here that you can help yourselves to. The first is this is a set of toolkits that the Water and Nature Initiative produced on different aspects of water resource management. So environmental flows, payments for ecosystem services, evaluation of ecosystems, and on this side, 3 aspects of water governance. So reforming water governance, share, which is about transboundary water management, and negotiate about multi-stakeholder processes. There's also a 7th book on climate change that we're just trying to rewrite. because climate change has all changed since it was written. There's different language versions here, so if there's any Burmese speakers, we have about 10 copies of the book on environmental flaws in Burmese. I'm not sure why they came, but they came. and there's a Chinese version of the book on valuation here too. Anyways, we have also authoritative publication on transboundary water management from the Environmental Law Center here. And there's a few copies of an overall report on the Water and Nature Initiative here. Anyways, those are there for you to look at and take at your as you wish. But please,
are there also PDF versions of it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, and if you go to www.waterandnature.org, you'll find it all. So Alejandro's going to run us through what we plan to do today.
Thank you, Mark. You see that I'm a lawyer and love this podium. No, I'm very happy to be here with all of you, doing some, I think, substantive work. You know, I feel like a fish in the pond, because we secretariat in these congresses are doing always a lot of administrative and really organizing the whole process. So it's nice at least to spend a few hours with some colleagues and friends in discussing challenging issues, you know, governance issues relating to water resources, especially when we're talking within a transboundary context, are always very challenging. And I think that the legal aspects are very, very challenging, very interesting. Very recently, I was in an event in Stockholm, and people asked me in this event to say a few words about the role of law in delivering conservation issues in water resources. There are so many, but one of the most important is certainty, is inclusiveness, is providing an opportunity for societies to participate, is giving, you know, also security and delivering good outcomes in terms of sustainable development. I think that we are going to discuss one way or another some of these issues here today. But before doing that, I would like to say a few words about our partners in this event. We shouldn't forget them. Some of them are here today, and especially I would like to highlight the Sociedad de Historia Natural del Soconusco, Froilán Gracias, has been a partner of the Water and Nature Initiative right from the beginning, and instrumental in setting up one of the flagship projects of the Water and Nature Initiative in Mesoamerica. So it's very nice to have you here, Froilán, with us today. I would also like to say thank you to the Ministry of Water and Environment of Uganda, that is one of the co-conveners of these events, as far as I understand, and obviously our friends and colleagues from the water program in headquarters and in the region. This is a kind of, it's a very strong alliance that has evolved over many years between the water program and the law program in implementing, as Mark said, the Water and Nature Initiative, and more recently Bridge, as well as so many other initiatives across the globe that we would like, and some of these experiences we would like to share with you today. We have an interesting agenda. Probably some other people might be coming later on. You know, there are so many concurrent sessions happening in this Congress that you never know how many people might be showing up here. And I would like to run you through this agenda very quickly. First, we will have a very technical session, very specific technical session done by Mark, called Introducing the Concept of Ecosystem Approach and the 7 Questions to Support Implementation. Right? After that, Juan Carlos Sanchez, working at the Law Center, will introduce us into a fictive case called the Tacón Basins. Why are we using fictive scenarios? I will explain to you in a minute, because thereafter you will go into a group or 2 groups, we will see see depending on how many people will be here, to analyze some of the challenges and questions that Mark will highlight in his presentation. Coffee break. Thereafter, we will continue working on other questions relating to IWRM with an ecosystem approach. And depending on that, the group will present findings into a panel, and we will analyze these findings and these solutions that you will propose in terms of the governance setup. The reason why I would like to highlight this use of fictive scenarios that we've been testing all over the world, more recently in Laos, that has been the latest experience in the lower Mekong, is because we realized that participants in this type of training, in this type of events, when they get their minds free of the details and complexities of their day-to-day work in the lower Mekong, in the Pacific, in Mesoamerica, in South America, in the Paraná River, Amazon, wherever you want to be, and they don't look at the details and these complexities of the day-to-day life, they can focus on the principles. And this is what we would like to show you, at least to get the flavor of what we have been doing all over the world. Get out of the complexities of the day-to-day, look at the principles, and then get back to the realities on the ground, using and applying those principles. I don't think I have anything more to say at this moment, but to give the floor back to my colleague Mark Smith to introduce the first technical session, and look forward to having some fun with all of you.
Thank you, Orlando. Don't worry, this presentation I'm going to give is extremely short. It just consists of 3 slides. The first 2 to introduce you to the, just to understand the scope of the Water and Nature Initiative a little bit. And then I will outline these 7 questions that we'll work through. As I said, the Water and Nature Initiative was focused on how do we do implementation. We worked in over the course of 2 phases between 2001 and 2011. We worked in over 30 projects I'll show you a map where we were working all around the world, really, with a very large network of members and partners. It was a large initiative, leveraged lots of investment into different river basins, and achieved a set of results relating to water resource governance and development of benefits for local people through livelihoods relating to water resource management, dealing with aspects of reducing climate vulnerability, mobilizing new finance into basin investment in basins. So, as you see here on the map, we have, I don't want you to go through the details of this map, the point is that we had a selection of basins in the Americas and in Africa, through now the Middle East. We're also working in the Middle East. I should stop saying now, until we finished earlier this year. And in Asia, particularly in Southeast Asia, and also in Oceania. 3 basins in Oceania. The focus on implementation was not something that we approached with a single model that said, here's a recipe for how you do IWRM. But rather, it was very much locally adapted and locally tailored to the particular context, ecological, political, of any basin. But more importantly than that, in any basin that you care to take a recipe for IWRM to, you'll find a different set of starting points. You'll find a different set of constraints. So in fact, if you look across this portfolio of work in these different basins, what you find is a great great mass of activities and reports and results and stories. And we searched for a way of trying to simplify what we have been learning into a set of principles that we could use to guide ourselves in other places, that we could use to guide our work, that we could use to explain to people this is how we work on implementation. And one means of explaining our model of implementation that we found useful is to do it through these 7 questions. I mean, a lot of people, of course, at the IUCN Congress will be familiar with the term the ecosystem approach. I have to say, when I came to IUCN and I learned about WANI and the fact that it was doing the ecosystem approach to water resource management, I thought, well, what on earth is the ecosystem approach? And I really never liked the concept. And if you read about it, it's full of all sorts of woolly words about using ecosystems because they're really good for people. And I one time was invited to a training session given by UNEP, doing a similar sort of thing, and I was asked to explain the ecosystem approach. And so I sat down in the